Imagine a man, let's call him Leon, standing at the edge of a cliff, not a physical cliff, but a moment of decision. Behind him, the life he's always known, comfortable, predictable, safe. Ahead, only fog, the unknown, the path to something greater, if he dares to take it. Leon isn't a king. He isn't a warrior. He's just a man like you, like me. But tonight, something inside him shifts. He remembers a story he once heard about a philosopher who said, "The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself." Leon steps forward. That philosopher was Plato. And that step, that's the moment discipline is born. We like to think we're free. But how free are we really when our impulses dictate our actions? When we hit snooze instead of rising, scroll instead of creating, indulge instead of enduring. Plato warned us 2,400 years ago, the unexamined life is not worth living, because without discipline, we are slaves, not to tyrants, but to our own desires, to instant gratification, to the parts of ourselves that would rather stay comfortable than become great. But here's the truth. Discipline isn't a cage. It's the key. And the philosopher-kings of Plato's republic didn't rule others until they first ruled themselves. Plato divided the soul into three parts: reason, spirit, and appetite. Reason is a philosopher within us, the part that seeks truth and wisdom. Spirit is a warrior, our drive, our courage. Appetite, that's the beast, hungry, restless, demanding. Most people live at the mercy of appetite. They chase pleasure, avoid pain, and wonder why they feel empty. The disciplined, the philosopher-kings, let reason lead. They align spirit to a higher purpose. They tame appetite, but don't kill it, because even the beast has its place when mastered. Think of your mind as a chariot. Reason holds the reins. Spirit is a noble horse, charging toward excellence. Appetite is the wild horse, powerful but untamed. If you let go of the reins, chaos. But with discipline, you fly. Here's why most fail. They mistake discipline for punishment. They grit their teeth and white-knuckle their way through resistance. But Plato knew better. True discipline isn't force, it's alignment. Every time you choose long-term greatness over short-term pleasure, you're not depriving yourself. You're upgrading yourself. The pain of discipline isn't your enemy. It's the friction of growth. The sculptor doesn't hate the chisel. The blade doesn't resent the whetstone. And the moment you realize that, you stop fighting discipline. You start forging it into your identity. Plato's guardians didn't become wise rulers overnight. They trained relentlessly, not just in thought, but in action. And so must you. Start small. In the morning, one intentional act, whether it's meditation, study, or physical training, send a message to your soul. I am in command. Because here's the secret: discipline compounds. Every choice to act with integrity, to delay gratification, to think deeply, rewires you. Slowly. Then suddenly, you stop needing motivation. You become the kind of person who does what's right, because it's who you are. Leon didn't know it that night on the cliff, but his first step was just that, a beginning. The path to self-mastery isn't a straight line. It's a climb. But with every step, you become more of who you were meant to be. Not a slave to your desires, but a ruler of them. A philosopher-king of your own destiny. The question is, will you take the step? Leon took the step. But here's what they don't tell you about the journey to self-mastery. The path isn't lit by inspiration. It's carved by repetition. By the daily, unglamorous work of showing up, especially when you don't want to. Plato's philosopher-kings didn't rule by accident. They trained like warriors. They thought like sages. And they understood something critical about human nature. Discipline isn't about willpower. It's about systems. About rewiring your mind until excellence becomes automatic. So how do you forge that kind of unbreakable discipline? Let's go deeper. Plato's allegory of the cave is more than a metaphor about ignorance. It's a warning about comfort. Prisoners chained in darkness don't fight their shackles. They grow attached to them. The shadows are all they know. And when someone breaks free and tries to lead them to the light, they resist. They attack. Your mind does the same thing. Comfort is your cave. Discipline is a light. And at first, it burns. Your brain will rationalize quitting. It will whisper, just this once. It will make excuses. Why? Because change is pain. And the ego would rather stay a prisoner in a familiar hell than risk the unknown. But here's the truth. The pain of discipline is temporary. The regret of weakness, that lasts forever. Modern psychology confirms what Plato knew. Character is habit, and habits run on loops. Cue, routine, reward. To build discipline, you don't fight your nature. You hack it. The cue anchored discipline to a trigger. The philosopher-kings of Athens didn't debate when to train. They trained at dawn. Period. No negotiation. Your discipline must be tied to something non-negotiable. A time, a place, a ritual. Wake up, cold shower. Right. Move. No debate. The less you leave to choice, the stronger your discipline becomes. The routine starts small but never zero. Plato didn't build the academy in a day. He taught one student, then another. Discipline is the same. Can't meditate for an hour? Do 1 minute. Can't run 5 miles? Run 1. The rule is simple, never zero. Because consistency beats intensity. And momentum is more powerful than motivation. The reward, redefine pleasure. Most people reward discipline with indulgence. They grind at the gym, then binge on junk. But Plato's guardians trained their pleasures, not just their bodies. The reward for discipline? Pride, strength, mastery. Train yourself to crave the satisfaction of a promise kept. And discipline stops feeling like a sacrifice. It becomes your addiction. The ancient Spartans, Plato's contemporaries, didn't wait for war to test their discipline. They sought discomfort, slept on hard ground, trained hungry. Why? Because they knew the mind is weak when the body is soft. You don't need to live in a barracks to train like this. Take cold showers, fast for a day, walk barefoot on rough ground. Voluntary hardship reminds you, you are stronger than your cravings, that no external condition controls you. And when real challenges come, you won't break. You'll lead. Here's a practice from the Stoics. Plato's intellectual heirs, memento mori. Remember you must die. It sounds morbid, but it's liberating. Because when you confront the reality that time is limited, excuses evaporate. Ask yourself, if I died tomorrow, would I be proud of how I lived today? Did I waste time? Did I choose comfort over character? The philosopher-king rules with death over his shoulder, not as a threat, but as an advisor. A reminder, greatness isn't for someday. It's for now. Even Plato stumbled. Even Leon will falter. Discipline isn't perfection. It's the speed at which you return to path. Here's the rule. When you slip, when you skip a workout, procrastinate, or indulge weakness, you have 24 hours to reset. No guilt, no self-pity, just action. One disciplined choice cuts the chain of failure. And the faster you return, the stronger your discipline becomes. Leon isn't at the cliff anymore. He's on the path. Not every day is victory. Some are struggle. But with each step, he's rewriting his nature. From slave to soldier. From soldier to king. This is the way of the philosopher-king. Not born, built, and now the choice is yours. Leon is no longer the man at the cliff's edge. He has walked the path, fallen, risen, and now something unexpected happens. His discipline stops being just about him. Plato's greatest insight wasn't about self-mastery alone. It was about legacy. A philosopher-king's discipline doesn't just transform him. It elevates everyone around him. Because true mastery is contagious. This is the final lesson. Throw a stone into still water. The ripples spread far beyond the point of impact. Your discipline works the same way. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you give others permission to do the same. Every time you uphold your standards in a world that rewards shortcuts, you silently challenge those around you to rise. This is why Plato believed philosophers should rule, not for power, but because the discipline so elevates society simply by existing. Your battle for self-mastery isn't selfish. It's a service. Look around. We live in an age of distraction, of outrage without action, of endless consumption with no creation. The modern world is Plato's cave, and most people are still chained, staring at shadows on the wall. But you felt the fire of discipline. You know the heat of effort, the light of clarity. And here's the truth. The world doesn't need more critics, more complainers. It needs people who have conquered themselves, because only those who rule their own chaos can bring order to the world. This isn't idealism. It's urgency. Alexander the Great slept with two things under his pillow, a dagger and a copy of Plato's works. Why? Because he understood that weapons conquer empires, but philosophy conquers time. Your discipline is your dagger and your scroll. It cuts through mediocrity today and etches your name into tomorrow. The philosopher-kings of Athens are dust, but their ideas still rule the world. Why? Because discipline outlives a body. It becomes legacy. What will yours be? Leon's journey began with a single step. Yours did too. But this isn't an ending. It's an initiation. From this moment forward, you don't find motivation. You don't wait for the right time. You act, because that's what philosopher-kings do. They don't hope for a better world. They build it, starting with themselves. The path is clear. The tools are in your hands. All that remains is to walk it, not just for you, but for all those who will follow your ripples. The cave or the light, the chains or the throne. The choice was always yours. Now rule.